Number 1. Ted Bundy, an American serial killer who confessed to 30 homicides committed in 7 states between 1974 and 1978. Bundy was known for his outward charm, which masked his violent tendencies. Ted Bundy. The name itself sends a chill down the spine, conjuring images of a handsome, articulate young man who used his charisma to lure unsuspecting victims to their deaths. Bundy's case was particularly disturbing, not just for the brutality of his crimes, but for the way he shattered the stereotypical image of a serial killer. Born Theodore Robert Cowell in 1946, Bundy's early life was marked by a sense of inadequacy and social awkwardness. He developed a fascination with voyeurism and violent pornography, which seemed to fuel his burgeoning dark fantasies. In the early 1970s, Bundy embarked on his reign of terror, targeting young women who often resembled his first love, a woman who had rejected him. Bundy's modus operandi often involved feigning injury or impersonating authority figures to gain his victims' trust. He would then overpower them, often taking them to secluded locations where he would commit his heinous acts. His crimes spanned multiple states, leaving law enforcement baffled by his ability to evade capture. Part of Bundy's chilling success stemmed from his ability to blend in. He was described as charming and charismatic, even handsome, a far cry from the monstrous image often associated with serial killers. This allowed him to operate undetected for years, moving through society like a predator stalking its prey. Bundy's trial in 1979 captivated the nation. He reveled in the media attention, often acting as his own attorney and using the courtroom as a stage to further his notoriety. Despite overwhelming evidence against him, Bundy maintained his innocence until the very end, only confessing to his crimes shortly before his execution in 1989. The case of Ted Bundy left an indelible mark on the American psyche. It forced law enforcement to rethink its approach to profiling, as Bundy's seemingly normal facade shattered the existing perceptions of what a serial killer should look like. More importantly, it highlighted the vulnerability of individuals, particularly young women, to predators lurking beneath the surface of everyday life. Number 2. Jeffrey Dahmer, also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal. Dahmer committed the murder and dismemberment of 17 men and boys from 1978 to 1991. The name Jeffrey Dahmer evokes a visceral reaction, a chilling reminder of the depths of depravity that a human being can sink to. Dahmer's crimes, a gruesome cocktail of murder, necrophilia, cannibalism, and preservation of body parts, shocked even the most hardened investigators. Born in 1960, Dahmer's early life was marked by a fascination with death, particularly the dissection of animals. This morbid curiosity seemed to evolve over time, morphing into a sinister obsession with control and domination. Dahmer's victims, mostly young men and boys on the fringes of society, were lured to his apartment with promises of money or companionship. Once inside, Dahmer's horrific fantasies played out. He would drug his victims, often torturing and killing them, before engaging in acts of necrophilia and dismemberment. Dahmer's apartment became a macabre museum of horrors, filled with the remains of his victims, preserved in jars and photographs. Dahmer's reign of terror continued for over a decade, largely undetected by authorities. His ability to blend in, coupled with the transient nature of his victims, allowed him to operate with chilling impunity. It was only in 1991, when a potential victim managed to escape and alert the police that Dahmer's gruesome secret was finally revealed. The discovery of Dahmer's crimes sent shockwaves through Milwaukee and the nation. The sheer brutality and depravity of his actions left an indelible scar on the city's psyche. Dahmer's trial in 1992 was a media spectacle, with the world transfixed by the chilling details of his crimes. Despite pleading insanity, Dahmer was found guilty and sentenced to 15 consecutive life sentences. He was later killed in prison by a fellow inmate in 1994. The case of Jeffrey Dahmer serves as a stark reminder of the dark potential that can reside within seemingly ordinary individuals. His crimes highlight the importance of vigilance and the need for open dialogues about mental health and the factors that can contribute to such extreme violence. Chapter 3: Beneath the Clown Mask. John Wayne Gacy. Number 3. John Wayne Gacy, known as the Killer Clown. Gacy was responsible for the murder of at least 33 teenage boys and young men between 1972 and 1978. The clown persona masked a sinister reality, one that would terrify a nation and expose the dark underbelly of suburban America. Gacy, born in 1942, was a seemingly ordinary man, active in his community, and entertained children as Pogo the Clown. His crimes began in the early 1970s, targeting teenage boys and young men lured to his home with promises of work or parties. Once inside, Gacy would overpower, torture, and kill them, burying their bodies in a crawl space beneath his house. The disappearance of 15-year-old Robert Piest led to a full-scale investigation, uncovering the horrifying truth. The crawl space beneath his house became a mass grave, yielding the bodies of 29 young men and boys. Gacy was convicted on 33 counts of murder and sentenced to death. He spent his remaining years on death row, painting disturbing self-portraits as Pogo the Clown, a chilling reminder of his duality. John Wayne Gacy's case serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of blind trust and the importance of vigilance. Chapter 4: The Highway to Damnation. Aileen Wuornos. Number 4. Aileen Wuornos. An American serial killer who was convicted of murdering 7 men in Florida between 1989 and 1990. Aileen Wuornos, a name synonymous with a life marred by hardship, abuse, and ultimately a descent into darkness. Her story is a tragic one, woven with threads of societal neglect, personal trauma, and a desperate struggle for survival. Born in 1956, Wuornos' early life was a brutal introduction to the world's harsh realities. Abandoned by her parents and subjected to abuse, she found herself adrift in a world that offered little kindness. By her early teens, she had turned to prostitution, a dangerous path that would define much of her life. In 1989, Wuornos' life took a sinister turn. Over the course of a year, she shot and killed 7 men along Florida's highways. Her victims, all middle-aged or older men, were each found robbed and shot multiple times. Wuornos claimed self-defense, alleging that each man had picked her up for sex and subsequently raped or attempted to rape her. Despite the complexities, Wuornos was ultimately convicted of 6 of the 7 murders and sentenced to death. Her trial captivated the nation, painting a portrait of a woman deeply scarred by her past. Aileen Wuornos' story is a tragedy on multiple levels. It's a stark reminder of the devastating impact of childhood trauma and the vulnerability of those living on the fringes of society. Chapter 5. The Andes. Echo with Silence. Pedro Alonso López. Number 5. Pedro Alonso López, known as the Monster of the Andes. López is believed to have been responsible for the deaths of over 300 young girls across Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador in the 1970s. The rugged terrain of the Andes holds many secrets, but none as chilling as the terror inflicted by Pedro Alonso López. Born in Colombia in 1947, López's early life was marked by poverty, neglect, and abuse. Abandoned and subjected to violence, he developed a twisted worldview. His predation targeted young girls, the most vulnerable members of society. López's modus operandi was calculated and heartless. He preyed on isolated indigenous communities, using charm to lure young girls. Promising gifts, he subjected them to unimaginable horrors. His crimes left a trail of devastation across Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador. Often strangling his victims, he believed he possessed their spirit. Despite the scale of his crimes, López remained a phantom for years. His victims, often from marginalized communities, were dismissed as runaways. In 1980, a flash flood exposed a mass grave, unraveling his crimes. Captured shortly after, he confessed to over 100 murders. López served 14 years in an Ecuadorian prison before being released in 1994. His current whereabouts remain unknown, leaving a chilling question mark over the Andes. The case of Pedro Alonso López stands as a stark reminder of the darkness that can fester in the shadows. It highlights the importance of vigilance and justice, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. These 5 individuals represent some of the darkest aspects of human behavior. Their actions have left a significant impact on society and the way we approach crime prevention and justice. Their stories, as disturbing as they are, serve as a stark reminder of the importance of understanding the complexities of human nature. By studying these cases, we can learn to better identify warning signs, advocate for effective prevention strategies, and work towards a future where such horrors are relegated to the history books. If you found this video informative and would like to learn more about true crime and history, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue to create educational content. Thank you for watching. Thank you.